Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Back to the TARDIS podcast, the podcast where we take a look at every single episode of the 2005 revival of BBC's Doctor Who. I'm Jeff.
I'm Aurora.
I'm Dirk.
And this week we are discussing Series 7, episode, 11? I think. 11, 12... 11. Yeah. The Crimson Horror by Mark Gatiss. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I know this isn't like a particularly groundbreaking or anything episode, but this is honestly kind of a personal favorite. I really like this episode.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Same.
It was really solid.
This is, I think, easily Mark Gatiss's best work that he's done for the...
This is a Gatiss?
Yeah, it's a Gatiss.
God damn.
Easily.
He does have a bit of a Gatissance this season. Obviously, Cold War was good.
He's having a bit of a what?
A Gatissance.
How many weeks have you been sitting on that? How many weeks have you been waiting to use that?
I thought I said it during the Cold War episode.
Did
I
you
not say it then?
I might have just.
I don't know.
We might have been spacing out.
I might have said Mark Gatiss Renaissance and not the Gatissance. Yeah, we got this. We had Cold War earlier in the season. Robot of Sherwood next season is pretty good. We get Sleep No More, which and then Empress of Mars is all right. But yeah, this is honestly really fucking great. This is I think this season's kind of been I guess it's been better than Series 6, but this has been a really solid episode for this season. So yeah, it is another Victorian historical where the Paternoster gang investigate a lady who has started making this sort of gated community in Yorkshire. And they suggest, or at least not suggest, suspect foul play and alien technology and that sort of thing. And it's a really, I think, there's some, slight return to, RTD camp that I love. The actress, for Mrs. Gillyflower, Dame Diana Rigg, rest in peace. I think she died last year actually. Is just having she is having so much fun. She is fucking chewing the scenery. She's given these fucking hilarious lines. I'll get into this a little bit later, but I actually feel coming off of this does a couple things that I was you see, Idiot's Lantern, this is how you do it.
Yeah. You're right, and you should say it.
So yeah, first off, I like that this straight up the Doctor doesn't even appear for the first 5 to 7 minutes. The credits roll and 5 more minutes elapse before either he or Clara show up.
Yeah, there's definitely a really good lead-in in this episode. I didn't remember the direction of this episode, but just, yeah, I mean, I think they really do a good job with the time that the Doctor isn't there to lead into him being there. That was a really stupid sentence, but
No, I get you. I understand you.
You get what I mean. Yeah, usually the Doctor is there from the get-go, and that kind of establishes the tone. And I think tone is really important in this episode, and they kind of let the setting establish itself before they throw the chaos wrecking ball of the Doctor manic pixie dream
Yeah.
show boy Tumblr sexy man into it.
Yeah, it's important for building the mystery, which I think this episode does well, because as soon as you introduce the Doctor into any scenario, that's just like, you know, struggling to maintain that mystery is just going to fall apart more and more once that character enters things. So that was good, setting up first of all the cold open where the fucking guy is talking to his wife, and it's just like something dark and queer is going on, and I'm just like, I know what that feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like
Yeah, but yeah, and Diana Rigg's introduction, I mean, what an actress to get for this role, to uplift the script and to uplift the role. Her last movie role actually came out this past month. Yeah, also featuring Matt Smith. So that's pretty neat. But yeah, just the yeah, Mark Gatiss really constructed this one way better. I mean, we kind of already saw
this
in
one's built
Cold.
different.
Yeah, just built different, man. We already saw in Cold War the effectiveness of kind of like starting the story without the Doctor. A bunch of good stories have actually done that this week, but yeah, really playing with not having him here and being able to use these characters that we already know. And I actually wasn't annoyed by Strax this entire episode. It was a
Yeah.
weird feeling to actually find him funny instead of knowing that I'm supposed to find him funny and not.
Yeah.
So yeah, just
Did you
great
actually
setup.
like Strax in this episode, or are you just being affected by the good Sontaran writing existing in the universe now?
No, because the Sontarans in that episode are written very differently to how Strax is. Like, they're pretty much not played for comedy.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to throw out there that holy shit, there's good Sontaran writing existing
Yeah.
now.
I mean, I think I thought Sontaran Stratagem and Poison Sky was pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, you know, just let me make my funny joke, okay? I
Nah,
don't.
man, not when your funny jokes involve slandering Senpai RTD.
It took you a long time to arrive at that.
Uh,
How dare you be inaccurate on this podcast committed to accuracy and rigorous critical analysis?
lefty misinformation. Hate to see it.
Yeah. So yeah, and also like yeah, it's like it's also like a rare case where like the Doctor actually like totally gets complete, like he would have been completely fucked if they didn't come bail him out.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have the fun kind of him being this monstrous, this pet of Ada.
Also, that's very in keeping thematically, as I don't get to use my English degree often, so I'm gonna pull it out right now. But just the literature of this time and the whole idea of, we think of monster today and we think of like just some like CGI Godzilla versus Kong like bullshit, just like typical scary shit, but like monster, especially back in the Victorian time, relating to like values and like types of othered people and their characteristics that we don't want to get on the good, clean, like English soil nationalistic bullshit.
Yeah.
Like that is.
Oh yeah, no, there is some very pointed mocking of Victorian values in this.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So even like I don't know, I just like the idea that like even the Doctor just being who he is, even ignoring the fact that he's an alien, just his ideology to someone like Mrs. Gillywater would be still enough to call him a monster. Of course, her daughter, we play into those themes as well. So, as I said, like, it's not the most in-depth exploration of this theme you could get, but Crimson Horror is just like another episode in a long line of what I would call like upper mid quality episodes that we've had in Series 7B specifically. So as I said,
Yeah.
it's been nice to
I
see.
guess it is upper mid. It is upper mid, but also it's like a specific kind of upper mid that I unironically just completely love. Like, I adore this episode. But yeah. Um Yeah, and yeah, as I said, there's definitely a lot of skewing of Victorian values. Like Mrs. Gillyflower is like presented as evil, but like the kind of like rhetoric that she's throwing around, like that was what was generally thrown about in that day and age. Like that, there was probably a lot of people like her. It's just she was the only one that got handed a fucking doomsday device that she could actually act out on that.
I mean, this episode is literally just about the eugenics movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just very. I mean, not even like subtextual. I mean, she is literally just a eugenicist. This episode is about the eugenics movement in Britain
Mm-hmm.
and how and just like taking it to its logical extreme of preserving idealized forms of healthy white Britons in their idealized family homes or whatever.
Yeah. Which are literally like frozen and like hidden behind, like frozen and trapped behind glass.
I mean, it's definitely not
Like
it's
subtle.
Oh yeah, Mark Gatiss went to the RTD School of Subtlety because the main scene where we lay out where uh, Gillyflower exposits all of this, she's talking from a fucking pulpit. Like, this is all about how the
Yeah.
systems, like, to their logical conclusion, it's just like, okay, we don't want to lose this, we want to preserve it, so what does that mean? We bottle it up, we stow it away, and we, rot while the rest of civilization progresses. Or, to a radical like Gillyflower, we destroy it. So, yeah, as I said, good stuff. Not the best, but, like, very, very upper mid. There's a lot of things elevating this, like, very simple idea and giving it more power and more, like, saying entertainment makes it sound so crass, but, like, it's enjoyable to watch these ideas and these characters, like, play out this scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, also, I will say also, very good at avoiding 45-minute syndrome. It's, like, it's pretty well paced, honestly, and there wasn't really any part where I thought, like, it was dragging too much, or, like, they just kind of skipped over some shit.
Yeah, like the pacing was super on point throughout. There was never a point where I was like, all right, well this could go a bit faster, like this is dragging a bit. Like seriously, it's
Yeah.
such a tight script cuz like it starts
Yeah.
off, you get the introduction, you kind of get like you get right into the action, it just like immediately sets it up and then you got the doctor introduced and then it just kind of like keeps rolling from there. It never really stops rolling. It rolls ahead at a consistent pace and then just like gets to the point. There's never a point
Yeah,
where they just like
absolutely.
go off and do something else for like 5 minutes that never affects the rest of the plot. It's like a very consistent, everything leads directly into the next part and has good reason to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the pacing is even more impressive considering how, like, I don't know, just how many extra characters stick out to me and how they don't really have, none of them overstay their welcome, but I remember all of them. The couple in the beginning, Mr. Thursday, who's initially investigating this, the fucking, like, coroner or, like, morgue guy, like, with the creepy accent, and, like, the one who names it the Crimson Horror. I don't know, just, like, all of
Yeah.
these, like, they have so little time, but they, like, I don't know if it's the direction or just the script being that good, but they all like stick out to me. They play their part and they're done, but it's like I still remember that. Um, so yeah, I don't know, just like everything's clicking and everything's paced. Um, yeah, no real complaints yet. I'll probably nitpick one by the end, but we're still
Yeah.
grooving. We're still vibing.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. There's also some really great like little imagery. Like I'm thinking of like the part where like Jenny is investigating like the factory, and she goes like sneaks into this side room only to reveal that it's these huge ass like Victorian style megaphones playing industrial
That
noises.
was a good reveal.
Like that's great. That's so sick.
Just the idea that they just have like a whole room that's just like, I mean, it's just really funny because like what's even actually the point of them pretending to be a factory? I'm confused.
Well, because the point is that they're not really making anything. They're just gathering people to survive their oncoming apocalypse that they're about to
Right.
Mm-hmm.
try and.
But why do they need to pretend to be a factory then?
Because it's the industrial era, I
Fair.
guess, and that's the idea is you get people to try and go there because factory towns, so you get people to try and come and like work there. Except they're not actually going to be doing any work.
Yes. Mrs.
Or at least
Gillyflower
not yet.
invented alt industrial, a couple hundred years too early. I respect the Sigma female grind set.
Yeah, she is kind of a girl boss when you think about it. Um, there's a really my favorite fucking line in this entire episode. Uh, is when this is like my favorite example of like the campiness and Dame Diana Rigg just completely just chewing the scenery up and having a blast is the scene where she reveals what Mr. Sweet is, and the doctor's like, Ada, in the wrong hands, this could wipe out the entire planet. And she fucking like presents his hands to these. He's like, do you know what these are? The wrong hands.
That was such a great campy line.
It's so fucking silly. Uh yeah, it's great.
Yeah. A lot of good camping moments. A lot of them from Strax,
Yeah.
but some of them from like good RTD style, classic style Who villains as well.
It is pretty much either Strax or Mrs. Gillyflower. It's really good.
Oh, and that one
But
time
yeah.
that 11 kisses Jenny for
Oh,
for no.
yeah, I was gonna talk about that. That's bad. Everything else in this episode is good. That's bad.
And like it's not even, I don't even dislike it because she's like, I mean, we don't know if she only is into women. I don't even dislike it because she's gay. I just think it's like, it's not necessary. And it's just like a weird, like, horny 11, like, oh, he's weird. He kisses people when he's grateful, like, or, I don't know. It's just, it was tonally, like, out of place for basically the whole thing because 11 is flanderized for that one, like, microsecond and then is like completely
Yeah.
fine the rest of the episode. Even in the like dorky like flashback, which is like done in a very interesting style and it's very effective. Even with his goofy ass accent, I'm like, okay, that's something the Doctor would do, because multiple Doctors have done that. But it was just that moment with Jenny was just
It's
yeah.
bad.
I found the
It's
nitpick,
just
guys.
bad.
It's right here. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it is like the one bit of like, yeah, this is the one part of like it's the one place where the problems with 11 creep back in, and it sucks that that's where they creep back in. So yeah. Uh I'm thinking about once Mrs. Gillyflower like pulls a gun on Ada and like takes her as like hostage to like try and still like make it out, and she fucking like she starts fucking like loudly singing hymns while she's like pulling levers and shit. It's really fucking funny.
It's like typical Christian nationalist, you know?
Yeah, the usual shit.
Speaking of Ada, what a fucking good character. Especially for the screen time she has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, Diana Rigg's actual daughter.
Yeah, that is true.
Interesting.
So yeah, I will, and this, so now I guess here's my point to get on my soapbox. So obviously, Idiot's Lantern, it's a little bit of a silly episode, you know, there's some good parts and there's some bad parts. But overall, there is a problem where it really, really, like, kind of falls apart a little at the end of the episode, because there's that moment where he's like, yeah, go to your like shithead abusive father and see him out, like forgiveness or something, and it's like, no, fuck off, he doesn't deserve it, he was just an asshole, and sometimes people are just assholes. And there's like a couple points where it looks like this episode is going to do that, and then it doesn't, and they're great.
Yeah, the bit where Miss Gillicuddy just gets her close, and then Gillyflower or whatever gets her close, and then just immediately puts the gun up against her head.
And the scene at the end where she's dying and she's like, Ada, forgive me, and she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Oh, and
because that shit fucking rules.
And the fucking reply, it's like, please forgive me, never. That's my girl. I'm just like, oh, fucking murder me. In Roblox.
Also, the fucking the bit where like he's like, well, I guess I'll take Mr. Sweet back to his own time where he can't harm anyone, and then fucking Ada finds it with her fucking cane and beats the shit out of it and fucking crushes it. And they're like, yeah, alright, okay then, that works too, I guess.
I know we're being all positive this week, but I saw that moment and thought, like, the 13th Doctor would have a lecture after that.
Yeah, she would, and it would be really, like, not fun. Yeah.
It would be...
You're absolutely correct.
Cringe.
Cringe, bro.
Yeah. No, yeah, good moment, good emotional stuff with, Ada, like her, that character's conclusion made me legitimately tear up, because I'm like, yes, step out into the light, Ada, you fucking deserve it.
Yeah, and they don't fridge her at all.
Thank goodness.
Like, it would have been super easy for them to like fridge the both of them, and well, I mean, I guess you can't really fridge the main villain, but like kill off like both of them. For whatever reason. And I'm really glad that they didn't. Like, a lot of times people complain about, oh, like, people don't die in Moffat episodes. But, like, I think here, it's actually, like, it works out okay, because I feel like if she did die in this episode, it would really just kind of be an unfair, like, bridging.
It's also like a thematic rejection of Victorian values, because in the end, it's like, it's Ada who survives,
Yeah.
not because of, like, some superior, like, Ubermensch or, like, Christian moral, like, fiber, um, but, like, because she has worth and value, even if she's quote-unquote, like, disfigured. I mean, she is disfigured, but,
Yeah,
like, not
absolutely.
quote-unquote lesser, I guess, in, like, Victorian
Yeah.
terms. So that
Yeah.
was good, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Um... Oh god, and then at the very end we have the lead into next week with the fucking kids.
Okay, that leans into my only actual complaint, because I just realized, like, we're talking about how all, like, good and even great some of this stuff is, but, like, Clara is not a character in this episode.
Yeah.
The Paternoster gang sticks around, and they're great, you know, like, after Clara shows up, but, like, Clara in this episode basically exists as something extra for 11 to have around. She gets, like, one good companion moment when she points out the chimney.
That's true.
And then, like...
However... That's true. However, this isn't like Series 11 and 12 Doctor Who. They're not doing this every episode. We've had plenty of good Clara episodes at this point. Like, I think it is okay for them to take a moment to, like, maybe do an episode where they take a look at some characters that are just in that episode instead of like having it be a big Clara moment. Like, I'm fine with
I mostly agree. My problem is that in the last episode, it was a dog shit episode in general, so we didn't really get much good Clara characterization. What good we did get is retconned by the end of that episode. Plus, she, like, her existence as, like, this impossible girl is just, like, lampshaded, and maybe not lampshaded, but highlighted by, like, the Paternoster gang who don't know the situation.
Yeah.
So, like, basically all their reaction is just reminding us of, like, oh, you know, how is she possible? Who is she? What does she mean? Like, whatever. So, like...
This, I mean, it seems more like a thing of, like, they didn't know about... They, like, obviously they haven't met her yet, so it would kind of be out of place if he's going off about this person that they saw die. And like, it would be kind of weird if they didn't bring it up at all.
No, yeah, I get that. It's just, I don't know. I wish we had more time. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what would fix this. If, like, maybe if Jenny, like, meets up with Clara and, like, both of them, like, figure out, or something. I don't know. Again, it's a small nitpick. Clara isn't actively bad in this episode. It's more like an absence of a great thing as opposed to, like, an actively bad thing.
Yeah. But yeah, the kids are atrocious, and that's really just gonna lead into next week of, like, it's just like, like, these kids have, like, maybe a minute and a half of screen time in this episode, and when you're already going, oh, these kids are so fucking annoying, like, that's not a good sign, right?
Also, the fact that they pull this fucking twice with Nightmare in Silver and later with Kill the Moon.
Right, but like, in Kill the Moon, it works. I feel like as much as a lot of things in Kill the Moon really don't work, I think it works pretty well. I think, like, that works maybe not pretty well, but it works better than it does in Nightmare in Silver.
For sure, yeah. I mean, we'll have to get there to be sure, but it's just funny to me that they repeat that basically, like, one season later. But
yeah. Anyway, well, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's. I feel like that's just like a, that's a like a Clara thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I can feel that. So yeah, uh, that's really that's my piece. Like, it's not that deep an episode, and it's honestly like a pretty like chill episode where like there's not a lot going on, but what's going on is like super entertaining and really fun. And like yeah, that's my piece. Do you guys have anything else?
No, I mean I'd pretty much echo that. It's just it's not a very complex episode, but it knows what it's doing and it does it pretty well.
Yeah. I think more episodes should dive into how yikesy the rhetoric of the past is. The one thing this episode didn't really do was connect to how there's still rhetoric like this in the present. But that wasn't this episode's job or this goal. That would have just been like an extra cherry on top. One question I
Yeah.
will posit to um, the British viewer we have is there's a joke with this kid who basically talks like a GPS.
Oh yeah, no, it's because do you remember? I was gonna bring that up because that's right. Because that joke completely doesn't fucking land at all. It's there is a brand of GPS called TomTom.
Okay, that's what I was gonna guess, but I was just like,
That's what the
is
joke
that a
is.
UK exclusive brand or whatever? Yeah, okay. So
No, no, it's a really dumb joke. It's just a stupid joke.
yeah, I was
Like like that's like the one thing that's like that's a little on the.
yeah, that again like again, not actively bad. It was just like a little like weird moment of like the yeah. So yeah, nothing else then.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Moving on to ratings. This episode rules. I understand that like in reality it's like a B plus A minus. But this is an A plus for me, baby. I fucking love this episode. This thing's great. Like this is like definitely like if I had to pick like 11th Doctor episodes to revisit, this would honestly this would go on the list over pretty much any arc episode from series 6 that isn't the opening two-parter. So yeah, A plus. Fucking banger episode.
I think my official take is that in concept this is like a B plus episode, but with the casting of Diana Rigg, really going all in on the setting, really tight script and pacing, great character actors in the smaller roles, a shining performance by the actress of Ada. Just everything is working pretty much on full cylinders, except for like miniature stuff like Clara's exclusion and the weird 11 horny moment. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so like
Your obligatory series 7 weird 11 horny moment.
yeah, so like minor things like that, like I can't good in good consciousness call this like an S tier, but as I said, like just the implementation brings this B plus B concept into a strong solid A.
Yeah. Um, I think it's I mean really this is a highly vibes based quality episode for us. Like we just really dug the vibes and it kept good vibes throughout. Yeah. I know it's really it's vague, but just like no, there it's just an engaging episode. It's a good just episode of Doctor Who that really knows what it's doing. It goes for it. It stays for 45 minutes. It wrote its episode around 45 minutes and it gets its point across really effectively. It's not like too hammy or anything. It gets it just right, and I think the writing was pretty solid. I mean, like, yeah, yeah, I would say it's like an 8.5.
Yeah. All right. So next week we will unfortunately be covering Nightmare in Silver. Until then, you can support the podcast on Twitter at B2TARDISPod. You can also support us by going over to our Patreon. We're back to the TARDIS on Patreon as well. That gives you access to some benefits such as early access to episodes, the ability to listen into episodes being recorded live, and potentially even the ability to guest star upon an episode of your choosing. I'm Jeff. You can follow me on Twitter at WheatleyDL.
I am not welcome in the New Jerusalem. Come tweet at me and discuss if you think you would be. Follow us at Of Mice and Femmes on Twitter.com.
I'm Dirk Strider.
And we will see you all next week.